A very good morning to you. Thank you for staying with us here on Global Television. We're live in Abuja, Nigeria's capital. I'm Uya Mofegbe. As always, this Friday, we'd love to especially welcome you to today's edition of Global Morning.
Yes, it's a beautiful weekend. Like you will always say, good weekend starts from
right now.
Friday, from right now. And we are excited that, of course, it's a bright day. And both the air, the weather, everything is pointing to Christmas, to the season. So just keep your fingers crossed. My name is Ramsey Enoch Agbo. It's going to be a smooth ride.
Yeah, it will be a smooth ride, no doubt about that. The only thing not so smooth about the ride this morning, however, is the passing of the Deputy Governor of Bayelsa State, a man who has now been described particularly by his own political party, the People's Democratic Party, as one who had political integrity, one who was a hero, and one who lived a life that's indeed inspired. You know, people say it is when we have passed that those we leave behind get to say a lot of amazing things about us. But we do hope that these same things were not only said about him while he was here, but that those now saying these things actually made him feel that he had these attributes, very important. He passed at 60. For so many people, that was quite a young age to have passed. For someone who still had so much to give back to not just the people of Bayelsa, but to Nigeria and indeed to humanity. Our hearts go out to those loved ones he left behind, his wife, his children, the good people of Bayelsa State. I mean, for somebody who had served at that level, you can imagine how much of a loss this will be to them, Ramsey.
Yes, it's a great loss. The people of Bayelsa State cannot recover from this in a hurry. This is one man that is so loved, and a man that has proven integrity to an extent. You could remember when there was a defection, when his superior defected, his boss defected to the APC, he said, well, if everyone is going, I'm going to stay back. That could be for integrity's sake, all right? And maybe because he doesn't want to dance to the tune of the same music that everyone is dancing to. And at a point, he cried out that there is an attempt to impeach him. And you know what it means? When someone defects and said, well, if you still want to remain in my cabinet, you must have to defect with me. If you are doing the opposite of the instruction, that directive, it means you have a battle to fight, as a matter of fact, and a lot of people to contend with, because it's just like you being an opposition in that office. And you know, you are the deputy governor. You know what that means. His death came. I saw that story late into the night, and to me, it was a rude shock. You know, I wasn't expecting it. When we heard of the collapse, I was like, collapse? We didn't hear that. All through the period he's been governor, we've never hear of, well, he was rushed outside for treatment or rushed to the hospital for treatment at any time. But just for us to hear that he collapsed, then a few hours later, or hearing that he's passed, I think we want to extend our condolence to the people of Bayelsa State and the People's Democratic Party. The Turaki-led People's Democratic Party have wrote so much, like you said, about him. And the wish is it will be more honorable if all this encomium, all these praises were poured on him while he was alive, and he got to know that, yes, this is what people feel about me. But notwithstanding, that move alone speaks volume.
Yes, it does, quite frankly. And his death, which came right in the middle of PDP crisis. I mean, look at what you just said now, the Turaki-led PDP. You're now wondering, who leads the other faction, right? But again, there was an issue of principle about him while he was here. Like you highlighted, he, again, on the basis of principle, didn't want to defect with his principle, the governor of the state, do your duty. Because for him, it was not just a matter of defecting from one political party to another. It was a question of character, it was a question of principle, it was a question of conviction. And for him, he apparently was persuaded that remaining in the People's Democratic Party was the way to go, even though his principal thought to the contrary. But again, that is one concern that should get our attention, Ramsey. The fact that it is not possible, I mean, it is practically impossible in Nigeria for a governor and his deputy, or as they say, his number two man, to be in two different parties.
Very uncommon.
Because even the good book says two cannot work unless, of course, they agree. So in this case, it's an apt reminder that once your principle has defected, it's almost a default kind of setting that you've got to go with them. Otherwise, in the words of Ramsey, you're going to have a battle to fight. Because at the end of the day, both of you came on leveraging the same ticket. So if midway into that journey, your principal now sees the need, for whatever reason, to defect, he expects that naturally you would go with him. So if you don't go with him, he feels, well, there's going to be a case of two captains in one ship. And that's, we understand, will normally not work. And you just said that in the case of Bayelsa, this is how it all ended. But again, it has also been extensively expressed. The people of that state, the people, the People's Democratic Party, and indeed Nigerians must draw inspiration from how vehement it was about his principle. It may not have been perfect like the rest of us, but the fact that he could put his foot down over a matter he was very deeply persuaded about is something that we should find significance in.
That's true. I think whatever it is, he has left a legacy, and he has proven a point that just few politicians in Nigeria has proven, and that's the issue of, like you said, the issue. Some people look at it as insubordination. Some people look at it as, well, this is integrity. This is a man of integrity.
Right.
For whatever reason it is, while other people are defecting, he has decided to say, well, I have pledged my allegiance to the People's Democratic Party, and the People's Democratic Party I will stay and be with all through my political career, except otherwise. Yeah. This is a very difficult decision to make, especially when you have a political party that is so domineering to say, everyone, you can see the way people were defecting to the All Progressive Congress because, I don't know, like you said, nobody knows what they were being told, but the influx was massive. Then somebody is saying, I want to stand out for whatever reason.
Yes.
Then at the end of the day, he didn't leave, all right, to see the end of his decision. You know, it's painful and it's heartbreaking. I know he's subordinate. One thing about politics is, whether you like it or not, there is no one man standing. He must have one or two persons who have believed and supported his idea of not defecting alongside with his principle. So as it is right now, a lot of people would not feel so good. Well, let's see how it's going to end. If there's going to be nobody have known we've not been told the cause of his collapse and the cause of his death so far. We've not been told. It's not in the media space yet. Maybe, probably, before he's been laid to rest, there might be reports or maybe one or two stories pointing to what actually led to his death, probably. But whatever happens, we'll always communicate to everyone watching us right now.
And just yesterday, all we heard was that he had collapsed and that there were concerns about his health and things like that. But I'm sure most of us didn't have the slightest idea that something worse was going to happen. But again, what can we do? These are issues we don't have control over at our level as humans. But we also pray for the repose of his soul, and that his family and those he left behind, even beyond his immediate biological family, would find solace, knowing that he lived a life that was courageous and inspiring, and then continue to draw on that. There's so much to talk about today, including politics, and again, the opposition front. What exactly is it doing in terms of being practically on the opposition? And then, of course, what the ruling party too is alleged to be doing to weaken opposition in Nigeria. We have all of that coming shortly in the course of the program today. But let's take a quick break. So much to talk about before we bring you motivation or inspiration on the program this morning. Do stay with us. Global Morning is your top morning show here on Global Television.
We bring you fresh news updates daily while delving into a variety of current affairs and topics.
And at the same time, keeping you well informed about important events, both national and internationals.
Global Morning serves as a valuable source of information, helping viewers like you start your day well informed.
Stay connected from Monday through Sunday to a wide range of latest news making rounds on Global Morning.
We're on the road to protest.
And the president meets all of our demands.
This is Global Morning.
All right, so quite a situation with Bola Tinubu directed the Inspector General of Police to withdraw policemen attached to very important persons or VIPs across the country. He didn't state any reservations or any exemptions. He said withdraw all of them. At that point, we're told that the number was around 100,000. A few days down the line, the IG had told Nigerians that at least more than 11,500 of those policemen had already been withdrawn, while the withdrawal process had continued. But what we have seen in the last 48 hours is more like a resistance to that directive from the president, because we have seen a handful of these VIPs, especially politicians. In this particular case, federal lawmakers now saying that, look, there is a disparity in the way this order is being enforced by the Inspector General of Police. For example, Senator Abdul Ningi has said that he's only oddly, that already establishes the impression that he has one oddly had been withdrawn, and as such, it makes lawmakers and indeed, by extension, VIPs vulnerable. Now, the question is, do we really want to talk about vulnerability at this point in Nigeria? Yesterday, I saw you on Issues, Ramsey, with your two guests discussing, having the same conversation, right?
Yes.
It's quite more like two sides to a coin. The president says we need to strengthen security, we need to rethink how we secure our people and their property. Therefore, one of the measures we are going to put in place in this regard is to ensure that all of those policemen that had been attached to VIPs are withdrawn so they can stay on course in the manner of speaking. But then it appears that there are forces that are probably working against that. Yes, some people say the argument by Senator Abdul Ningi alongside a few other lawmakers is valid, but the question is one life more precious than the other? After all, if we had done the right thing over the years, we probably won't be having this conversation around insecurity the way we're doing right now.
Yes, that's true. And whose responsibility is it? Those there, the politicians.
Right.
Because these are some of the things they even promised the electorate before they got into office. Then you get into office and you're crying here and there that your security details are being withdrawn. But then I think there are so many other things that can be done. Ningi was particular about, he said he's waiting to see what will happen with the president, the vice president, the governors, the ministers, the deputy, the speaker and the deputy speaker, the Senate president and the deputy Senate president. And of course, a lot of people were like, okay, these people, the law permits them to have at least police officers guiding them, or maybe security operatives, as the case may be. But he was particular about the fact that some business concerns, like maybe Chinese men or women in the country, expatriates move about with escorts and a lot of security details. What about them? He also talked about sons and daughters of political office holders. He talked about musicians, singers, and all of that. But then, that's not the focus now. What is the problem? Okay? Why are they worried? This is the time that they need to clap. Even, I don't know, clap for the average Nigerians who have been moving with their bare chest open all these years. I don't know if you understand. Nigerians, the average Nigerians, as a matter of fact, have been moving on the street, travel from Gombe to Taraba, travel from Benue to Lagos.
With their hearts in between their lips.
In between their lips. Without any escort. They just travel like that with their chest open. Nothing is protecting them except God. But these people move around with escorts. In fact, sometimes you see these escorts, the fleet of cars that move with one single politician. Sometimes you see it and you'll be wondering, what will happen if you set 2 or 3 of these cars and touch a life? Even in your constituency, even in your family. We're not even talking about the ordinary Nigerians that are somewhere going through things. Yeah, but people very close to you. But then the question is anyone more Nigerian than the other? If you want to talk about security, because one of the reasons, I think these things started happening recently when the security situation got deteriorated in the country. And the president was like, wait for a minute. How many policemen do we have? Okay, this is the number. So why do we have this? In active duty, working directly with the people. Because as a matter of fact, police officers are law enforcement agents. You know, they are supposed to be more in the communities, all right, to make sure there is law and order, maintenance of law and order. But a lot of these people, it will amaze you that some officers, some security operatives are even crying more than the politicians who are crying because of what they get.
Right.
You know what it means.
Stomach infrastructure.
Yes. Because, and you know, in this part of the world, a lot of people are more concerned with what they get, you know, than what other people get. They don't even care. And someone said something sometimes back. He says some of these politicians don't even know whether the price of fuel is high or low because they don't queue to get these products, you know. So the same thing is applicable. They never knew what Nigerians were going through all these years. So it's better. See, the truth is this. By the time you feel a particular pain, you will know how to tackle it the next time that pain is coming. Right. You may even want to do everything possible not to feel that pain again. So it's good. Let everyone get a feel of what the average Nigerian have been going through all these years without protection. Because sometimes the people who are even meant to protect the average Nigerians became lords over them, you know, became tax masters, torture masters, and all of that. So I think as a lawmaker, as a politician, as someone who has decided to lead, you also need to have a feeling of what the led are going through so that it will help you even function better. But notwithstanding, if this directive is anything to go by, it should be, okay, all round, except otherwise stated by the law.
Well, I don't know what the law states under these very special circumstances in which we find ourselves right now. All right, but we must do right by our people. We must do right by our country. When we say we represent a constituency or we represent a senatorial district, that representation must be qualitative and impactful on all levels and at every sense of the word. Well, let's step on our brakes here for a second and bring you inspiration.
On your way to success,
Well, success have many brothers, but failure is an orphan. You will never be a failure, and you can never be a failure. My name is Ramsey Enoch, and today we want to look at a very simple stance. What am I going to talk about today? I want to encourage us that we don't have to wait for motivation before we take action. You don't have to wait for motivation before you take action or do the right thing that you need to do. If you must be successful, because you need to act, number one, you need to act very fast based on what you want to achieve, because everyone have what they are built and designed for. We have a lot of people who are jealous of what we have, who we are, where we are, and what we have been wired to do, or what we have been destined to become. It's very clear. So sometimes that you are waiting for motivation. Motivation can come from either of these people, unknown to you that these persons are actually there to talk you down indirectly. There are some motivation, some healing. That's why I tell people all the time, don't be carried away by praises. Some people can praise you into damnation. Yes. Some people can praise you into the pit. There are people that because they praise them, because they heal them, because of applause, you know, they are nowhere to be found today. They are off the stage already. So what we have to do, the number one thing that you need to do is don't wait for motivation, act first. And motivation will follow. All right? There is a secret for successful people. And successful people may not even tell you this. They don't feel motivated every day. That's the truth. Ask the richest man in the world today. He don't feel motivated every day. Sometimes you need to motivate yourself, encourage yourself in what you are doing. They act their way into motivation. Motivation is not the starting line. It is the result of the movement. All right? That's when motivation comes. When you are successful, everyone wants to identify with you. When you are successful, you are a newsmaker already. Everyone wants to be your friend, but you need to be careful. Choose your friends carefully and don't allow your friends choose you. Because a lot of people may want to be your friend because you are a successful man. A lot of people want to claim to be your motivators. They are the ones motivating you. Guy, I need to be careful. All right? Wedding happens after you begin. Because first of all, you need to believe in what you are doing. The confidence has to be there before you can even do what you are doing correctly. If not, you fidget on stage. He said in his own case, he didn't feel very confident when he first started. He didn't fancy tools, but he showed up. And the more he acted, the more motivated he became. All right? What you need to do is build confidence yourself. And confidence built consistently have a long way to go. Don't be scared. See, sometimes God puts something in you and your environment may not look it. Your size may not even look it. Do you know when somebody is telling you, this one, what can he offer? This one from this village, I knew when this person was born. A lot of people are going to say so many things, but you need to be confident of yourself because you know what you carry on your inside, you know what you are made up of, you know what God told you you are going to become. You know what? See, build confidence consistently. Always be confident of yourself. Because action, by the time you begin to put in that action, it creates clarity. When you move, ideas flow. Right? Someone can attest to what I'm saying right now. But when you sit still, fear grows. I want to say that again. When you move, when you take action, ideas flow. That's why some people will tell you, before I even got on stage, well, I didn't even look at my script anymore because I was just flowing, it was because you got on the stage the first time and confidence came unknown to you. That's what it means. Okay? When you move, ideas will begin to flow. When you take that idea, you begin to break it down, an idea begin to flow. When you move, ideas do what? Flow. But when you are still, fear grows on your inside. So even if you don't feel like it, just take one small step today. Send maybe do one or two things that you feel this could actually boost whatever it is you're doing. Stop waiting for the perfect people. Because the perfect people may not be those people motivating you. Sometimes you are doing the wrong thing and some people are saying, wow, but you did well. But you are doing the wrong thing that is about destroying your future. I wonder what happened on social media these days. You see some people misbehaving, some people doing things that will take their lives, that will lead them to condemnation, destruction. And some people are there hailing them. Be careful the kind of comments people make on your post. Some of them are not encouraging. Some of them are there to talk you down. You need to be careful. Build confidence yourself. Believe in yourself. Trust in what you are doing. Trust in yourself. Trust in God first. Yeah, trust in God first, then believe in yourself. That's it. Trust God, then believe in yourself. You will get to your destination, and that is very, very important. So everyone that is clapping for you is not all of them that believe in your dream, but you need to be very, very careful. That's what it is. As people are clapping for you, as people are saying, go on, hey, you did very well. That thing you are doing, I like that, your lifestyle. Keep it up. Oh. Something that is not good, something that the society frowns at. Some people are encouraging you to be naked on social media. That is disastrous. And the same you is looking for a husband. Tell me, does it match? How does it really feel good? Or you want to, let me just leave it at that. Whatever you're doing today, be careful the kind of people that cheer you up. Be careful of motivation. Be careful of hand clap. Be careful of unnecessary healing. Examine yourself. Test yourself. Check what you are doing. But I want you to know that you need to get on the stage, get on that assignment, get on that job, get on that duty, get on that your job description, and just keep moving on it. Ideas will flow. But if you stay stagnant, I tell you the truth, fear will grow in you and build up, and before you know, a destiny has been killed and destroyed. That's not your portion. That's not a portion at all. You are a mobile success. Go somewhere to happen. Don't allow anyone talk you down. Congratulations once again. Have a beautiful day. Bye-bye for now.
All right, let's begin to look at the first for you this morning. The first set of headlines we're bringing to you are from The Nation. Top left corner, the sad story that Ramsey and I brought to you earlier. says Bayelsa Deputy Governor Erujakbo dies at 60. Meter crisis, that's a kicker. FCCPC seals Ikeja Electric headquarters. Rivers lawmakers fought Fubara's claim on peace meeting. EFCC to arraign Ngige today for alleged contract fraud. We understand it was picked up yesterday at his residence. Family members say he was recovering from some health concerns, but we're now hearing that the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission will arraign him today. But then there is a star headline here. It says, our challenges going into 2027 polls by INEC chair. That headline has one rider with it. Amukwito decries low voter turnout canvasses upgrading of communications infrastructure. Of course, the man has talked so much about the challenges associated with INEC, especially in light of the 2027 general election. And now he's also highlighting low voter turnout as one of those concerns. And then on the left corner of the paper, the headline says, First Lady, let's identify with less privileged. That's Senator Oluremi Tinubu there talking. And then lastly, Fani Kayode, Omokri, Yakubu, Ugwai, Bazu, others get Senate panels nod. And those are ambassadors designates. All of that happened yesterday on the floor of the Senate. And we understand that there are more nominees to come for their own screening. In the meantime, you can read up those details on page 3 of the Nation newspaper today. All right, so let's move on to the next one. This time it is the New Telegraph newspaper.
All right, let's quickly look at the New Telegraph newspaper this morning and see the headlines that we have there. Beginning from the big story. I actually watched this video and I laughed. Because I actually knew, I was telling some of my colleagues yesterday that we need to watch this screening of the ambassadorial nominees because there might be dramas. Dramas might unfold. The big story say ambassadorial appointments. That's the kicker. Oshomole Ndume dash as Senate DS Omokri. Fani Kayode, Ikpezu, ex-INEC chair, and others. Well, but at the end of the day, they all took a bow.
Yes.
Then this one says Q3 2025, oil sustains exports dominance up 56% to 12.81 trillion naira as Nigeria's external trade peaks at 38.9 trillion naira. Then this one says Nigeria drops 9 places in where to invest in Africa rankings. This one says Sanusi is saying Nigeria leaders see public office as family business. This is Sanusi talking there. All right. This one says President's anti-corruption fight, now political witch hunt. Atiku is the one saying that. All right, you can get the details on page 7 and 28. Reps urge federal government to prioritize forex allocation to airlines. All right, just one rider to that story. It says excessive pricing threat to dirty December visibility. All right. That's not so clear there. Then this one says Tinubu seeks NAS approval for 2026-28 MTEF. All right. Then just below the paper, there you have this one. The kicker say Nigeria, poor internet connectivity, elections biggest challenge. That's INEC talking here. So a problem known is half solved. 2027 is, in fact, Well, let me not go deeply, but then if INEC has discovered that this is going to be a problem, then something should be done about it. Because there's a way you can have internet with you, all right, wherever you're going, so that you do whatever you want to do. You're not staying there forever. It's just for the time being, the period of the election, so that you can do what you want to do your upload real time, do whatever you want to do, and move on. All right, finally, from the New Telegraph this morning, this one says, PDP mourns as Bayelsa Deputy Governor Ewodapo slums dies. Okay, then finally, Trump launches $1 million gold card immigration visas. And those are the headlines from, okay, this is punchy. Let me look at this headline. One more. Prioritize alteration bills. No plan to rename Nigeria United States of Nigeria. This is reps. You know, there was a document flying, I think from last week or so, where so much in that document, and one of the things, someone even called me and wanted us to talk about it, and I told the president, this is not a verified document. We can't talk about it because it was alleged that the federal government is having the intention of changing the name Nigeria to United States of Nigeria, so that there will be a collapse of the region, or maybe the geopolitical zones, into just one Nigeria. So we won't have anything like these are northerners, these are people from the west, the south, the north central, and all of that. But then there is a disclaimer to that now on the National Daily, on the newspaper this morning, saying the federal government don't have any plan to rename Nigeria. Those are the headlines from this newspaper this morning as we move to the next point of call.
All right, thank you, Ramsey. Let's now take it to the Vanguard newspaper. All right, the one at the top of the nameplate says FCCPC seals IKEDC office over violation of customers' rights. That's Ikeja Electricity Distribution Company there. Bayelsa Deputy Governor slums dies at 60. Ambassadorial appointments, drama as Senate clears Fani Kayode, others. Excuse me. Tinubu hails Uzodinma as true progressive, dependable ally. You can read up those details on page 34. U.S. seizes Nigerian-owned supertanker over alleged crude theft. And that's interesting. U.S. seizes Nigerian-owned supertanker over alleged crude theft. The writer says it shows weakness in our ports state control regime. Olanyo. Dangote unveils 1 trillion naira scholarship scheme for 1.3 million students. So that's quite audacious. Tinubu forwards 2026 to 2028 medium term expenditure framework and fiscal strategy paper to Senate. You can find those details on page 9. Those are the headlines basically from the Vanguard newspaper this morning. Not so much headlines, but Ramsey will walk us through the headlines on the front page of the Punch newspaper.
All right, let's quickly look at the Punch newspaper and see the headlines that we have there. On the Punch newspaper, above the nameplate, this one says EFCC arraigns ex-Labour Minister Ngige today. Labour Party rolls out automatic ticket for Obi. Wow. Ambassadorial list, Oshomole Ndume lock horns over Omokri's nomination. This one says Nigeria's killing, that's the kicker. U.S. officials prepare high-level briefing for Trump. Then now to the big story, which says insecurity, which is the kicker. Federal government approves 94,000 new enlistments. All right, let's look at what the writer to that story is saying. Please, set to take 50,000, ministry fast track 30,000 paramilitary enlistment. Army eyes 14,000 fresh soldiers. Experts weigh in. All right, a local refining boom slashes petrol imports by 6 trillion naira. Fubara pushing Rivers toward fresh crisis, says Speaker. Oyinlola blames Tinubu for PDP crisis. All right, ex-AGF Malami spends a 4th night with EFCC. Sometimes I tell people in political offices, you just, if whatever you're doing, just keep it on a clean slate.
Right.
Because like the inspirationals we had this morning, some persons who are clapping for you at a particular point in time, the same persons might be the people to prosecute you, to laugh at you when the D-Day comes. So you need to be careful,
right,
okay, over every applause. You know, the same person that a lot of people said so many things about is the one, this is the 4th day, you know, 4th night with EFCC as ex-Attorney General of the Federation. Well, let's see what will come out of there. South governors, PDP mourned Bayelsa Deputy Governor's death. Insecurity investment in surveillance paying off, says Sanwo-Olu. And of course, those are the headlines from the Punch newspaper this morning as we move to the next point of call.
And the next point of call, incidentally, is the Nigerian Tribune for you. The big one here, it says reps ask federal government to prioritize forex allocation to airline operators. That's the Nigerian Tribune. A call for 50% reduction in cost of tickets during Yuletide. And then above the name masts, Oshomole Undume clash as Senate screens Reno, mockery, others. Ambassadorial nominees enjoy bow and go privilege. PDP Ogun Adamawa governors mourn as Bayelsa deputy governor dies. That story is replicated across all major dailies today. Right? Awujale throne. Funshegbunwa ruling house disowns Kwam One. You are not one of us, family says. Dangote unveils 1 trillion naira scholarship scheme for 1.3 million Nigerian students. Enugu government earmarks 10 billion naira for phase 1 of 135.4 kilometer rail project. Those are details you find on page 22 of the Nigerian Tribune today. Enugu government, under that it says Catholic priest tells courts how terrorists bombed our church. That conversation is quite profound and just causes goosebumps every time you think of that carnage on that day. All right, so those are your headlines from the Nigerian Tribune this morning. We encourage you to read up details as we move on to the Nigerian News Direct for you.
All right, let's look at the Nigerian News Direct and see the headlines that we have there. This one says, Ayedatiwa flag off construction of Akure Ijare Road. FCCPC seals the Ikeja Electric over metering complaint. Oshun Johnson relaxes 81-day strike to allow negotiation with JSC. All right. The big story now, federal government to borrow 17.89 trillion naira to finance 2026 budget deficit. And finally, from the Nigerian News Direct, right at the footer, we have this one which says over 1.3 million Nigerian students to benefit from Dangote 1 trillion naira scholarship fund. And those are the headlines from the Nigerian News Direct this morning.
All right. This day newspaper is where we take you to next. And then let's see what we have there. All right, above the name mask, it says, citing long-term opportunities, PZ Cousins stops plan to sell its units in Nigeria. All this has a rider with it, in fact, 2 riders. Says economic currency trends now more favorable. Discloses offers received did not reflect the inherent value of business. Sanwo-Olu reaffirms his administration's commitment to protect lives and property. You can read up Governor Sanwo-Olu's story on page 32. Remi Tinubu, cut my husband some slack. We are working hard to keep Nigeria safe. As the First Lady there talking. In historic move, federal government unveils Nigeria's gas trading payment system. We have 4 riders with that headline. The first one tells us, platform to ensure transparent, competitive markets. Ribadu says illegal refining networks dismantled. Securities and Exchange Commission describes events as monumental shifts from physical markets. All right, well, there's a picture story on the front page of the paper. That's this morning, launching of ADF 100 billion naira education scholarship initiative. That's Aliko Dangote Foundation. We understand around 1.3 million people will benefit from this very important initiative. Okay, read up those details and other headlines from this day newspaper today. Let's flip it over to the Guardian newspaper now.
All right. On the Guardian newspaper this morning, we have some very important headlines. Ambassadors Ndume Oshomole clash at screening as Omokri others take bow. If they are going to take a bow, I don't see any need for the clash. Ikeja Electric protest as FCCPC seals office over deviance of NEC order. Poor network, INEC's toughest challenge in IREF upload, says Amopiton is crying before time, is saying it before time, so nobody holds him to it. So the needful needs to be done. Dangote launches 1 trillion naira education fund to support 1.3 million students. A budget turmoil deepens as Tinubu prepares 2026 estimates ahead of MTEF approval. And finally, at the footer here, this one says Sanwo-Olu reaffirms Lagos State government's commitment to protection of lives and properties. And of course, those are the headlines from the Guardian newspaper this morning.
Right, let's go look at our last paper. That will be the First Daily. Quite an irony. The First Daily is the last paper on the show today.
First becoming last.
Right. All right, let's see. That's on a very light note. A court rejects ex-power minister Mamman's no-case bid in 33.8 billion fraud trial. A court rejects ex-power minister Mamman's no-case bid in 33.8 billion naira for trial. That means he has a case to answer. All right, what's more? INEC raises alarm over a dirty voter register, orders nationwide public verification. Commission warns integrity of 2027 elections at risk as inconsistencies spike. ECOWAS names Dangote first chair of Regional Business Council. Tinubu seeks Senate approval for 2026 to 2028 fiscal framework. Obi slams federal government over unpaid contractors, says neglect crippling small businesses. Oshomole Ndume clash in Senate over Omokri's ambassadorial nomination. NAFDAC destroys over 5 billion naira fake products in North Central crackdown. PSC, that's Police Service Commission, police begin nationwide recruitment of 50,000 constables. That's quite a number of policemen we're going to have for the end. 8 Unijust students killed in Plateau road clash. May their souls find rest. Quite sad there, and you wonder how you are going to pass this message to their parents and other loved ones. But what can we say? Just be sure to read up details of these headlines for yourself today. And then we'd like to remind you that Global Television, as a broadcast media outlets, or the team here on Global Morning, does not in any way contribute to these papers. We just bring you headlines exactly as published by their respective publishers. Let's take a quick break. The rest of the show returns shortly. Global Morning is your top morning show here on Global Television.
We bring you fresh news updates daily while delving into a variety of current affairs and topics.
And at the same time, keeping you well informed about important events, both national and internationals.
Global Morning serves as a valuable source of information, helping viewers like you start your day well informed.
Stay connected from Monday through Sunday to a wide range of latest news making rounds on Global Morning.
We're on the road to protest.
The president meets all of our demands.
This is Global Morning.
All right, so quite a lot is happening across the world right now. But again, let's domesticate some of these issues real quick for you. There are those now questioning the rationale, or if you like, the motive behind President Bola Tinubu in sending troops to Burkina Faso. I should say Benin Republic, all right? Because they say, well, yes, there was an attempted coup. Apparently that coup failed in Benin Republic a few days ago. That was on a Sunday, all right? But there had also been a coup in the Niger Republic. Some people argue there had been coups in Mali, there had been a coup in Burkina Faso. You didn't send, Nigeria didn't send
even at
troops
Abakia,
there.
I think there was one at
The one in Niger. Well, in the case of President Bola Tinubu, we can say, well, he was not in office at that time when the one in Chad happened. But in the case of Niger, you were in office. You didn't send troops to go.
He was even the chairman of ECOWAS then.
Yes. So, in fact, you would have even had stronger reason to have deployed troops at that point. In the case of Niger Republic. That's the argument that we're seeing all over the place. But then you find some validity in it, because you're not asking what makes the case of Benin Republic so vital, so important, that we had to deploy troops. Of course, quite a large chunk of armament, hardware, and what have you. That was a humongous mass of resource that we deployed to that country.
Yes, I think a lot of people have been questioning that. Just like you said, some persons are saying it's like, because according to what the federal government said, they said it was 2 sets of communication lines that they had before that happened. And some persons were arguing that, well, Nigeria wants to act the big brother thing because a lot of people are saying, well, is Nigeria still the big brother? Then some persons are looking at it from the angle of, well, we're being faced with so much here, and we've not been able to handle it. What would have happened if we can help other countries? All right, how are we really faring? And people are saying so many things. Some persons are saying, well, France is trying to lose its strength, you know, in the Sahel region, you know, in the French-speaking areas,
the Francophone
countries. Look at what has been happening lately. And some people are saying, well, the president wouldn't have, all right, done that. But what of the approval? The approval came. The president just didn't do it. I think the deployment of troops to Benin Republic was an approval. I think the Senate approved it. All right.
But it's the president that apparently had sent that requisition to the Senate to say, look, this is what, I mean, more like an executive proposal. So the Senate had two options, either to approve or not to approve. But of course, the intent of the president was clear to the Senate. I mean, these guys were not born last night.
But as the Senate disapproved any of the anything sent by the executive for approval, I don't think so. Since this 10th assembly, okay, came into office, I don't think they really, meaning they are in tune with the president.
You see, the buck stops with the president, especially in cases like this. These are cases of security. Particularly at this level, whether the Senate approves or disapproves is secondary. The buck stops with the president. The Senate didn't mute the idea. They didn't propose it. It was the president that made a requisition to the parliament,
and
they looked at it. Who knows? Maybe a couple of elements made sense to them, all right, to that extent, and they said, look, why not? Let's throw our weight behind it. At least let's approve it for the records, and they did. But again, like you said, we need to always probe the idea, the rationale behind whatever government does.
Yes.
So it doesn't become a case of everything goes. I mean, all commerce affair. There must be what is in it for Nigerians.
Yes.
No matter how much we want to support our neighbors or other countries on the continent, there's got to be something we're also getting in return. Otherwise, it will be a one-way traffic. I don't want to say a case of being penny wise, pound foolish, like my mom will put it. But we must understand how things work in the 21st century, especially as it has to do with diplomacy and these sort of regional politics and economic issues that we all pursue. More so as it has to do with security. And then Nigeria was also, beyond playing the nominal big brother role, as we have known it over the decades, realized that countries on the continent must first and foremost learn to take individual responsibility for the choices they make, the decisions they take, and how they decide to live. Otherwise, we're just going to have a set of thinking, all right, that drags us back as a continent, and that's all the kind of life we want to live as a people. Well, let's take a quick break now as we join Ogochukwu Mobodo on Social Bars.
Very good evening and welcome to another exciting edition of Big Talk. Tonight on the program,
as always, it's a pleasure to have you join us here on Global Morning. I'm Uyi Alpo.
You know how we do it on Social Buzz Extra, bringing you all the...
On the desk this evening, we have very topical issues to discuss, and of course...
Welcome to your parliamentary program, The Parliament.
Peaceful and joyful home doesn't happen by chance. It is built on...
Men can rise beyond traditional boundaries to claim their rightful place as
a numerous committee, about more than 12 committees.
Festival is a program that comes to you once in a week at about this time, where we look into issues and discuss them. It gives you the opportunity to
rule news in United
Welcome
Nigeria.
To Entertainment Circle. And trust me, today you're about to get entertained.
Hello everyone and welcome to the program Talk Sports here on Global Television.
Top Zone is that platform where we bring young and talented artists.
Stay tuned, stay inspired, stay with Global Television on DSTV Channel 365, on Star Times Channel 276.
Good morning, the Global Morning crew, and good morning to you, our viewers. I am Ogochukwu Mobuno. We are looking at what's buzzing on social media today, and I must tell you that there's something that is really happening. A lot of things are happening, of course, but we're just picking one for the sake of our time and for the sake of this program. So, security operatives. A security guard arrested in connection with the murder of retired female justice in Delta State. Operatives of Homicide Section of State CID Delta State Police Command have arrested one Godwin Ngumi, 25, the security guard who allegedly murdered Justice Ifeoma Okogo, retired in Anambra State. Confirming this development to newsmen, the spokesperson of the command, SP Edafe Bright, said the phone of the late retired justice has also been recovered from the security guard. He confessed that he invited his friend, one Naji Obalum, and one other suspect at large over to the house where they carried out the started act together. Naji Obalum has also been arrested, while the manhunt for the third suspect is ongoing, Edafe said. Justice Okogo, an Asaba-born former judicial officer, was found dead late Sunday night, the November 23rd, 2025, at her home in Asaba. Her killer bound her legs, hands, and ransacked the entire house during the horrific incident. Also, this happened in late November, but the whole investigation process that was carried out, and also they were able to find the killer in December, just a few days ago. May her soul continue to rest in peace. But sometimes I just wonder why people do this. This is someone she brought in as a work, someone is supposed to work in her home, and the person, or who is supposed to secure her, as the case may be, but the person ended up taking up her life. We're going to take some comments on social media as regards this topic and know what exactly are the thoughts of people on social media. The first one is coming from Calabar Don Dada. And Calabar says, when they pay you to destroy the system will come back to you one day. I really do not get this statement, but it's a very wrong one at this time. I think we should learn to let the dead rest and not say things like this. To be very honest, you never know this woman when she was alive. I don't think you ever had issues with her, so you shouldn't say things like this, honestly. To the next comment is coming from Barbie Pink. And Barbie Pink says, Makawaina, that's why I insisted my mother should leave her husband's house and come and live with me since my dad is no more. I can't afford to hire outsiders to stay with her. Let her stay with me. Let me be seeing her. When will domestic staff stop to buy their employers, especially elder people? It's so bad that the elderly are the victims these days. The last but not the least comments coming from MOJ. And MOJ says, imagine the security that was employed for her protection finally carried out the dastardly and evil act. Very, very shameful. This is a very bad one. I'm not alone today in the studio. I have with me Uyi Agumofwebe. Good morning, Uyi.
Good morning, Ogochukwu. Quite depressing news, I must confess.
As a correspondent for the judiciary, I'm sure you must have seen this, and you should be interested in things like this. Honestly, I felt very, very bad when I read this story. I read the story some days back, and I was asking myself, should I take this story up? But I think I should. This should actually notify the public of the kind of staff, the domestic staff they hire. But then we don't even get to know completely who you are hiring. This person has worked with her for quite some time, from the story I gathered. So who would have thought that he would carry out such an act? But I thank God that the police have been able to do their job. What do you say, Mr. Oyi?
I think that's quite a relief, for whatever it's worth, that the police are now in custody of the suspects, because we need to take this to court and be able to prove a case against the suspects. Otherwise, whatever we're doing right now is just trying to find the facts and then be able to get to the root of it. But let's circle back to the human angle element in this conversation. When people want to engage those to work with them at the domestic level, we say do your due diligence, know the person you're bringing into your home. Well, all of that is important because you really can't know people. So do the utmost. Go the whole hog. Ensure you do your part, do your background checks and what have you. But in the end, some people are just going to be who they are. Some things are just going to be the way they are and all of that. Sadly, this is not a standalone case. It's not the first of its kind. We have seen this happen time and again. We've seen cases where the victim was even burnt, all our valuables, including gold and stuff, taken. We have even seen this happen with the mother of a former governor in this country, a former governor in the Fourth Republic, not a governor from the 70s. All right, so it just shows that people who bring helps, as we call them, all right, you bring domestic workers into your home in whatever capacity to do whatever kind of job for you, as long as they are going to interact with you, with people you care about, including your spouse, your children and relatives, your neighbors, you've got to be very careful. At the very minimum, know their parents, know where they are coming from, where did they work before, who did they work with, who recommended them, all right, who is signing their references, who is giving you their word on their behalf to say, look, I trust this person. For example, I personally have a principle. It may not be same for everybody in the world of over 8 billion human beings. I don't recommend people for jobs. I can only tell you there's an opening, go for interview, go for assessment, you know. But my only concern is that that assessment is fair, is professional, is equitable in such a way that people are not disadvantaged just on account of certain considerations like tribe, religion, ethnicity, gender, and what have you. But I don't recommend people. It's a personal principle, all right? It may not work for you, but it does work for me. Because people must take responsibility for what they want to do. So this is just to say that those of us who want to engage people to work with us, even in an organization, well, same people who come to work for you a few weeks, a few months, or a few years down the line, they run away with the company's vehicle, they run away with cash, they run away with vehicles. We've heard of several cases where drivers are accused of absconding with trucks, with products, and everything. Sometimes these products and the truck, they run into tens of millions. Who bears the loss, all right? And what does that mean for other people who will come there to work tomorrow? The company will tighten its policies, will become more stringent with its requirements because they say once bitten, twice shy.
All right, thank you so much, Uyi, for that contribution. That's a strong one. I would have gone ahead with this conversation by asking, okay, so what are we going to start doing to make sure that we prevent things like this? But for the sake of our time, we are not going to take that. You can join me later on Social Buzz Extra by 11:30. All right, that's where we end today's show on Global Morning. I am Ogochukwu Mobno. Please stay with us as Global Morning continues.
Very good evening and welcome to another exciting edition of Big Talk. Tonight on the program.
As always, it's a pleasure to have you. Join us here on Global Morning. I am Uyi Alpo.
You know how we do it on Social Buzz Extra, bringing you all the...
On the desk this evening, we have very topical issues to discuss. And of course...
Welcome to your parliamentary program, The Parliament.
Peaceful and joyful home doesn't happen by chance. It is built on... Men can rise beyond traditional boundaries to claim their rightful place as
a numerous committee, about more than 12 committees.
Face to Face is a program that comes to you once in a week at about this time where we look into issues and discuss them. It gives you the opportunity to
world leaders in United
Welcome
Nigeria.
to Entertainment Circle. And trust me, today you're about to get entertained.
Hello everyone and welcome to the program Talk Sports here on Global Television.
Talk Zone is that platform where we bring young and talented artists.
Stay tuned, stay inspired, stay with Global Television on DSTV Channel 365, on Star Times Channel 276.
Global Morning is your top morning show here on Global Television.
We bring you fresh news updates daily while delving into a variety of current affairs and topics.
And at the same time, keeping you well informed about important events, both national and international.
Global Morning serves as a valuable source of information, helping viewers like you start your day well informed.
Stay connected from Monday through Sunday to a wide range of latest news making rounds on Global Morning.
We're on the road to protest.
The president meets all of our demands.
This is Global Morning.
Very good evening and welcome to another exciting edition of Big Talk. Tonight on the program.
As always, it's a pleasure.
Welcome back. And now we'll get into the first conversation today, and we want to look at political realignment. As a matter of fact, a lot of people have said so many things, and people are even alleging that it's as if the All Progressive Congress is trying to drive the boat right now into what a lot of people are looking at as a one-party state agenda. So today we want to look at opposition accusation of APC of one-party agenda. And I have a former lawmaker and an APC chieftain who is going to be with me on the program this morning in the person of Honorable Cletus Obun. It's good to have you join us on the program today.
Thanks once again for putting me on the spot to discuss this very turbulent topic.
Well, turbulent. Okay, it's turbulent, of course, because a lot of people have said so many things. And, you know, it's not just enough to be a ruling party. So many things are attached to it. You are a former lawmaker and a chieftain of the All Progressive Congress. How do you respond to the allegation that APC is pushing a one-party state agenda in Nigeria, as a matter of fact?
That accusation is grossly misplaced and lacks historical facts to support it, of the actors in APC, who all along have fought to insist that there should be no one-party state. As ACN, in July of 2007, as a matter of fact, of 2007, don't forget, this president was just leaving office as governor of Lagos State. I remember precisely July 5 at AMSO Hotel here in Abuja. Yar'Adua had just won a controversial election and was trying to placate everybody and came up with a proposal of what they call the GNU, Government of National Unity. It was ACN that was approached for Government of National Unity. AMPP jumped into the fray. We met on that 5th by 10 a.m. We didn't leave that place until 9 p.m. that night. And what was the debate? The pros and cons of joining the Government of National Unity. I led the debate that joining the Government of National Unity was a recipe for one-party state. And therefore, we cannot afford it as Democrats and progressives who preach multi-party democracy. And plural democracy cannot survive when everybody drifts into the government of the day. It means that we have no ideology. And I knew that from our constitution as ACN, which formed 90% of what we know today as APC, there was ideological dichotomy between the PDP and the ACN. So we had no business whatsoever going into that government in what we don't believe in. That was not our cut. That was not our take. That was not our promise to Nigerians that we were going to run the same government that we were opposing. That it was a huge contradiction, and therefore we shouldn't. Out of 36 state chairmen and FCT, 24 of them voted in favor of my motion. The proposer, the proponent of Government of National Unity, Dr. Bashir Dalhatu, who was then National Secretary of ACN, was defeated by the vote and walked out of that meeting and resigned as Secretary of ACN when that vote was carried out. I do remember that at that point, Oshomole was still in the tribunal over his electoral project. He supported the anti-Government of National Unity and several other key actors. Atiku then was a member of PDP, but was working with ACN as a vice president to Obasanjo, President Obasanjo then. So what am I saying to you? Those who opposed Government of National Unity so that we will not drift to a one-party state cannot turn around because they are sitting in government to seek it. Remember, on the day when, on June 12 this year, the president went to address a joint session of the National Assembly, what did he say? And you don't want to believe him? That far be it from him that to preside over a one-party state, that is against his DNA, that he has fought all along for plural democracy and cannot be seen to preside over a one-party state. But that does not mean that he should prevent people. It's also contradictory to enshrine in our Constitution that there's freedom of association. Political parties like a church has a free entry and free exit. To now curtail and try to breach that freedom of association contradicts and breaches fundamental aspects of our Constitution. So these are some of the issues that most people tend not to analyze and put in perspective and in context. While not saying that people shouldn't join APC, while not wanting a one-party state, you cannot allow and will not now abridge the fundamental rights of freedom of association that our Constitution guarantees to every citizen of Nigeria. So a man sits as PDP today and gets to join Labour Party. The governor of Osun State, just the state of Osun, just left for Accord Party. What do you call it? Is that a one-party state? That's a sitting governor. Nobody is talking about that. Should make news in Nigeria. That should tell you that Nigeria is not just, I have said this, it is not contemplatable that Nigeria can become a one-party state. Nigeria is too plural, even by its own robust attitude and composition of the Nigerian state. Under the military, youth earnestly asked for Abacha. Remember? 2 million man march. You remember that? That was a military government that would have collapsed and coerced everybody into a one-party state. What happened? Nigerians resisted it. And I'm saying to you as an APC member, I didn't join APC. I am a founder of APC. I led APC in my state. Nobody in Cross River State will tell me that he brought me to APC. I brought almost everybody to APC, apart from comrades like Obonobla and others who were with us from CPC, and others from AMPP like Martin Bisson and others. Then you have all these people are foundation members. They didn't join. We formed the party. So if you now turn around and make us believe, people like Senator Musa Dede, even as he left as a senator in PDP, was still funding ACN as opposition in Cross River State. Between NDP and ACN and all that, we had this. So Nigerians are extremely too Republican to be caged into a one-party state, no matter the attempt made by anybody. So those who are afraid of a one-party state should just watch. By itself, Nigeria is composed in a manner that there will be internal elements that makes it impossible for anybody. So there will be implosions here and there. And I've warned my party. This is exactly what PDP did. Don't forget, in 2015, almost everybody was becoming PDP. And that was when the PDP prepared its own casket for a funeral that has become almost interminable.
But the same thing is happening in APC right now.
What am I telling you? I am saying to you that I'm warning my party that they should be careful about that.
Okay.
I'm not pretending about it.
So as it is now, Honorable, what are your thoughts on the current state of opposition politics in Nigeria? And how do you intend to strengthen your party?
Nigeria must learn from history. If they do not learn, they will fall back to the same errors of history and commit the same political harakiri, political suicide. How? The elements that are constantly in motion, who I call political migrants, have never indeed been political actors in the real sense of it. Those who come to politics for the benefit of what it will give to them and what it will add to their pocket and to their prestige and to their ego are different from those who want nation building. People tell you that, oh, that's what politicians do, and I challenge you. Each time you see Tinubu move, he is moving in collaboration with kindred spirits. From AD, he joined us in ACD. ACD is Advanced Congress of Democrats. AD was the party of the Southwest. When it was captured and 5 states went, he was the only one who survived it. Like he said, I was the last man standing. Nigerian forget that part of it. And when he cited Alexis Anielo, the SDP National Secretary at the time, who was the prime mover of ACD, he joined there in 2006, April 2006, and then by 29th of December, it transmuted into AC, and the N was added to Action Congress of Nigeria, and then we now moved on from that point. It was after this that by 2014, 2015, in fact 2011, there was an attempt to bring all the opposition parties, progressive opposition parties, into a coalition. But the legal team said the framework for mergers as enshrined in the Constitution and the Electoral Act, the combined reading of the two documents, made it impossible for 2011 to materialize. So it was suspended until 2013. It was by 2013 that the momentum for merger. So before the PDP people come to truncate it, the merger was already formed, and it was announced by Lai Mohammed, then Publicity Secretary of the coalition. And what was the effect? It is to say that there are people in this country who have never been in the ruling party just for the sake of being a ruling party, but to create a deepened democracy that is sustainable and that can make this country develop and come to the Community of Nations, of Democratic Nations on Earth. And being the largest black nation in the world, it is only befitting that Nigeria should be the one to lead the way into a sustainable democracy. And therefore, there is no surprise that up to this point, from 1999 to date, there has been no. So when I heard the rumor of coup and there was no coup, I just laughed at it because I now know that our military has sufficiently been ensconced, has been completely embedded within the reality of the Nigerian condition, which is that Nigeria has come to stay with democracy. And that it is even better for the military to act under democracy than even when there's a military rule. At least I have friends, I'm a barrack product, so I should know. And we have friends, we have brothers, we have classmates who are sitting there in the military. So we know the pulse and what they feel like when it is under the military, and when they have never and can never have it better than when they are under a democratic rule. First, the tensions are less, and then the areas and battlefronts are lessened, and therefore they have a focus on how to defend the territorial integrity of the nation. So they are better off and become more professional. Don't forget that the Nigerian military is one of the best in the world. From the First World War, 1914 to 2018, from 2018, the breaking of the Second World War by 1936, Nigerian forces participated from Burma to all over the world. Nigeria, when there are crises on the African continent, even when it was pre-independence under colonial rule, it was Nigerian forces that were always used. Post-independence, look at Sierra Leone, Somalia, look at Sudan, look at Liberia, look at the Congo. The passengers of this world fought in the Congo. Their veterans are there still living. So Nigeria has played a major role in military diplomacy. People like Joe Garba, look at them in the US and the UN, permanent representative of Nigeria in the United Nations. Look at their role. Go and read his book, Diplomatic Soldiering, and you will get to know that Nigeria has a proud history of military conquest in the world. So to come now and start subjecting our military to the ridicule of wanting to come to power again under a democracy is simply not reading Nigerian history well. It's very Nigerian military history. So I want to say to you that the one-party state is a no, simply not possible. It's not difficult, it's impossible.
You said something while you were speaking. You talked about defecting, okay, and you had, from your body language, it means you're not fully in support of the mass exodus of people into the All Progressive Congress. And you said you are warning your own party because it could be detrimental looking at history. Now, can we now say that the PDP governors defecting into the All Progressive Congress, like people have alleged, could be for selfish reason and maybe detrimental to the party at the long run? What's your perspective?
It is democracy that suffers, not just APC. It is not in the interest of democracy that everybody gravitates into one pool just because you are serving. How about those who are not governors? How many of them are defecting? There are people who are sitting at home and saying, I'm not participating, rather than go here. I am a classic example. I sat as a PDP legislator, was suspended after 2 years, and started the opposition from the House, which led to my suspension without entitlement till today. From March 2002 till today, till May 29, 2003. I never got my entitlements from the Cross-Party House Assembly or from the Cross-Party government. I have refused also to go to court. I believe that there shall come a Pharaoh who will know Joseph and pay me my entitlement. I won't go to court for what I suffered for. I suffered that humiliation. I suffered that trauma. My family suffered. I was threatened with death. I escaped death thrice in that process. But I can tell you, I'm still in opposition till today. That opposition is what everybody is jumping through the roof, through the window to come down and join as ruling party. If all of us were jumping like that, where would they be running to by today? I want to see a staying energy out of conviction, out of commitment and dedication to a cause. If you have nothing to die for, to stand for, you will die for anything. You must stand for something. What do you stand for? So it is the shame of our political class that the compass of their conviction is their stomach and their ego. So once it is no longer possible, why will you say that your career is politics? That the only thing you do is partisan politics? You have no other second address. It is this that is driving people into this kind of attitude. A lawyer leaves to contest an election, wins an election, he won't want to return to the chambers. Look at what Fashola is doing. He's back in court. Look at Obama. He's returned to court as a lawyer. If I live here, I'll go back to the classroom to teach. I can do my broadcasting. I can do my writing as a journalist. I can go back and lecture. Dust up my books and go back to take my courses in any university in the world, because my certificates are not limited to a particular university or to Nigerian universities. But I want to remain in Nigeria. I want to be in Nigeria. And I totally believe in this country, so I'm not even ready to leave this place. Those who want to Japan can do that. There are private universities, there are public universities, both state and federal universities, inter-university centers. I deliver lectures all over the world. My brains have not failed. So why would you want to think that Nigeria with so much potential should become a cesspool for political harlots? And you gamble with the people's destiny on account in the name of politics and say that you can be a senator in PDP today and become a federal House member in AD tomorrow. And what kind of hobnobbing is that one? It doesn't make sense to me. So I believe that in any case, don't forget that it is this attitude of moving from party to party that under the PDP government around 2014, that the constitution was amended and the Electoral Act amended to reflect that once you leave party away from the party that sponsored you, you lose your seat. They've now prostituted it, compromised it, and then it is becoming difficult. Of course, with the kind of infighting, the kind of crisis that embroiled the entire political society, they have given room for people to exploit that. They say you cannot leave unless you show that there is a division in the party. So when you have PDP having 3 secretaries, 2 chairmen, 15 conventions within 1 month. What do you expect people to do? They exploit that loophole and go. Meanwhile, that was especially...
But, Honorable, there are pockets of concerns that the issue in these opposition parties is somehow being engineered by the All Progressive Congress. What do you think about that?
I have made the point. I have made the point. The political game requires these maneuvers. These tactical maneuvers, they are very, very common. Is it not also the duty of every political party to unsettle the other in order to win an election? Is it part of your duty to go and teach Mike Tyson how to fight Douglas? Is it the duty? I mean, if you remember, I'll give you the example of boxing because I'm into martial arts. I'll give you the example of boxing. You are a southpaw, a left-handed boxer. And then the man your coach tells you, go for his right hand. In other words, avoid his left hand giving you the uppercut. And then you come into the ring and at all times you are running in towards his defective hand. So each punch from there does not have the impact, avoiding the other. And the other coach gets and he says that the referee should warn you that you must go to the left hand. Is that what happens? A coach tells you in a football match, these people are relying on counter-attack. So that one man that is to be marked, who stays to take the ball on the run from his own half, you stay with him, don't leave him until the match ends. It happened to Cabrini when Germany defeated Argentina in 1990. Cabrini was kept to mark Maradona. And that was it. So no passes could get to him, he was disconnected. And in the finals, they got a 1-0 to defeat Germany. Will you go and tell the coach that why do you tell your defender to stand with Maradona? So if you now come and apply it here, will you now ask us that why do you go and confuse PDP? Why do you go and confuse SDP? Why don't you allow them to organize themselves? It is part of our duty to disorganize the opposition, as we did to PDP. Did we not do so? As ACN, as APC, when we discovered that alone we couldn't. Buhari was strong with 12 states in the north, and there were 6 states waiting for, including Edo State, waiting in the south. That gives us 19. So with 25% in another 5 states or 6, we could win the presidency. What did Tinubu do? He went to Daura to meet Buhari and say, if we come together, these are 12 states of my own, we can go far. Buhari, after 3 attempts, had wept on TV and said, I will no longer contest. They are cheating me. And he said, let us go and do it a 3rd time. He didn't even ask to be a vice president. He was qualified to be a vice president. The Muslim ticker you said was the reason for it. What happened in 2023? So, for me, we are not reading history contextually and correctly. Once we read and interpret history well, Nigeria is the best place to ever be. And I can assure you that dribbling, unsettling, and disorganizing the opposition is part of the duties of a ruling party. And it is also conversely and proportionally, it is also the duty of the opposition to unsettle the government in power. If you fail in your own duty, do not come and look for excuses. Excuses are not a good political weapon. And I do not think that this whipping will last forever. But APC must be cautious, because I give this warning again and again. The attitude of insisting that those who join the party now are the best brides, while those who found the party should be relegated to the background, is what is going to lead to the implosion in APC. I insist that foundation members of APC across the states, have been sufficiently relegated to the background, and they have enough force that when galvanized can become a problem. So the problem of APC will be APC.
All right. Let's talk about this now. A lot of Nigerians believe, it is allegedly, said that a political party in power, like your party is dominating now, always have upper hand over the Independent National Electoral Commission. Now, your party, is there anything your party is doing towards 2027 to ensure free and fair election, to disabuse the minds of Nigerians that it is not as it's been alleged?
First, The way to do so is the quality of people you bring to run that office. When this professor was brought in as INEC chairman, you could see that the reception was grand. Only few voices tried to talk about his personality, never his character. Nobody had a doubt about who he is. When they tried to say, oh, he was a lawyer to this, he was a lawyer to that, even in court, when they say, call a witness, and you call your wife as a witness, as a lawyer, as a litigant, and you call your wife, the only thing the court tells you is that the judge should take judicial notice of the fact that this was, so that his demeanor and his evidence will be sufficiently put into scrutiny. They do not say that you cannot testify because you are the brother, the wife, or the son of the litigant. So also, that as INEC chairman, Nigerians agree that this man has character and has demonstrated neutrality and sufficient integrity. Now, going to the issue of making Nigerians believe that there will be no partiality, that there will be impartiality, there will be independence. At all times, in the last election, let's even take the immediate past 2023 election, you accuse INEC of everything. And Nigerians must listen to this. The sitting president had contested election as SDP senator in 1992 and won. Came back in 1999 and won as governor. Sat in the Southwest against a sitting president, won his election to return for a second term when his colleagues all lost. That president was now running for president and lost election in the same state. And INEC is not independent. That result was never disputed. Second, the three top presidential candidates, Kwankwaso, Atiku Abubakar, and Bola Ahmed Tinubu, in the entire Southeast, didn't get 2% of the votes in the 5 states of the Southeast. The owner of the Southeast got over 98% of the votes in the entire Southeast, where APC had won election the same day, same time, on the same ballot, got vote to win senatorial seats. INEC was not accused of being suborned by the APC. In Zamfara State, sitting government, APC, won all the seats, won the governorship. The court ruled and threw out everybody. At that point, the judiciary was the last hope of the common man. Rerun elections, APC was losing steadily, and the president, Buhari, was congratulating them even before they start. Just now, we just lost Anambra. It is normal for ABGA, in fact, before the election, you know ABGA has already won. Is ABGA in charge of INEC? So you keep saying that ABGA keep winning Anambra means that ABGA is paying INEC or paying the ruling party to allow them win. At that point, Nigerians don't see that. Look at what happened in Plateau. When the election went, everybody started screaming APC has come. One party state. But when it happened in Zamfara, you forget. You forget that Wamako contested in the morning to be MPP governorship candidate. And in the evening became a candidate in PDP and went to court. Justice Salami was sitting in to take a decision. What happened? He was suspended before he could sit on this under Jonathan. People forget that part of our history. And today, you can find judges sitting conveniently and sending APC members to jail, sending former governors to prison, sitting APC senators, sending them to prison. And yet, we keep talking about partiality and impartiality. Nation building is not a turnkey technology. It is a gradual process. It is an evolution. It's a metamorphosis. You do not expect that in 65 years, Nigeria will compete with America. Nigeria will compete with United Kingdom. Even at that, you could still see the Trumps of this world behaving as if they are just learning democracy. After 200 years as a democracy, America is still struggling with a rampaging Trump who sits back and believes that he's a world policeman and undermines the sovereignty of other countries. When, as ECOWAS chairman, Tinubu announced that the coup in some of these West Africa, in the Sahel states, were not to be tolerated and that he could apply force. What was the response from even Nigerians who claimed to be hypercritics? What did they say of him? That he was chewing more than he could bite. When he backed down, the 3 Sahel states are there. Only yesterday, Benin Republic almost attempted it. If Nigerian troops are going to be put in trouble by going there to go and call it, why won't you prevent it? And Nigeria goes there to prevent it. Nigerians will jump up and start complaining more than even the Beninois citizens. Why will we as a country believe that the only way in which we can be relevant internationally is to undermine our own country? Where is our patriotism? Where is the Nigerian in us? When we go to do a COMOC and lead the COMOC troops in Liberia, in Sierra Leone, that is very good. Nigerian soldiers lost their lives to child soldiers that were put to lay ambush for Nigerian soldiers. And then you turn around, Nigerians are in the northeast, Nigerians are in Zamfara, Nigerians are everywhere, Nigerian soldiers are everywhere, and then they get killed, and then people don't say anything wrong with that, and think that the only way is to play the politics with people's lives, with the troops' lives, with the morale of our troops that are protecting us and sleeping in the bushes and on the roads, and mock them, and Nigerian media, especially social media bandits, as Soyinka will call them, will go and be picturing the corpses of Nigerian soldiers being murdered. Sometimes they even Photoshop from other countries and show Niger soldiers on an ambush and pose them as Nigerian soldiers to kill morale. So we don't need soldiers. So you want people to join the army and then you do that to them. And I keep asking, have you seen the dead body of an American soldier on CNN? You have more satellites in the world when they were in Iraq. You know how much immediately Saddam was captured, the American soldiers suffered more losses and damages and more defeats in Iraq than when Saddam Hussein was alive. Did you ever see it on CNN, on Fox, or any of the American TV stations? That is patriotism. You must differentiate that. That is not how to play your own part as a citizen. It's not enough to just come and say everything must be shown. We need to get this facts in our schools and in our TV stations and our work ethic and differentiate between patriotism and between professionalism. We cannot mix the two and think that we just make money in the media by publishing and bringing to ridicule those institutions that keep and make for our nationhood. So nationhood, building a nation is not a one-day job. Like they will say, Rome was not built in a day. You cannot build Nigeria in 65 years. Nigeria is evolving, and I think that we should give Nigeria a chance, and we have a great chance and the great potentials to be one of the greatest nations on earth.
Oh, thank you, Honorable. We are trying to round up now because of our time. But then, before we call it a wrap, I think maybe one or two more questions. Let's look at this realignment now, this political realignment that we're talking about. And of course, a lot of people have said so many things. Opposition accuse APC of one-party system, which you have totally talked about now. What do you think? What's your perspective of the fact that a principal is defecting and he or she is insisting that every other person under his cabinet also defects? Are you in support of that? Tell us why.
Any person carrying out such imperial conduct is first of all already undressed of his credentials as a Democrat. I had said to you that our Constitution guarantees freedom of association, so that you are living and if, for example, you're a governor and you insist that all your commissioners must go with you, House of Assembly members in your party should go with you. It's freedom of choice. by the actors. Nobody worth his salt as a sitting member of the House of Assembly should allow himself to be dictated to. If there is an agreement to that, fine and good. But if there is no agreement about it, you have no business going there. Like I said, I was a sitting PDP member in the House. I left for NDP. At that time, the law was not yet there. Why? Because I believed that what we agreed on as a state and as a government was no longer being carried out. And I did not see myself aligning with that. So I pulled out, and a few others did. But while I was doing that, 6 members out of 12 of the opposition AMPP moved into PDP while I was moving out of PDP under 2 years. So when I speak from solid personal experiences that it is doable, but it is very wrong for anybody to insist that even your wife must be in the same party with you. It doesn't just work. It doesn't just gel. It is not democratic. And don't also forget, when you see endorsements, people from other parties can endorse another person from another party on account of his pedigree. So it still works out. You don't need to wear the colors of a particular party to vote for a particular candidate. You don't need to. The vote is sacred. And of course, it's done in secret. It's a sacred right used in secret. So you cannot turn around and insist that what you claimed is free now is aligned and coerced into taking a particular position by insisting that your House of Assembly members, your commissioners, your PAs, your aides should all come with you. It doesn't sound like democracy anymore once that happens. That's the work of an emperor. And when you are becoming imperial, you should know that you are divested of every authority and every right and respectability of a democrat. And you have no reason to complain when you are deserted. And that certainly will occur because bereft of the reins of office, nobody wants to stay with you anymore. Because you are using force, and once the force departs from you, the transience of power and the reality of it are so devastating that they are irredeemable.
But looking at the Nigerian setting now, in a situation whereby someone refuses, let's say for instance, maybe a subordinate refuses to go with the principal, do you think there could be implications looking at the system in a real situation now?
Let me ask you, let me say this to you. If you are a commissioner and you are convinced that you believe in SDP or PDP or APC, and your principal leaves, as is happening in, for example, in Osun State, you are a commissioner and your principal leaves for a court party, and you think that you should remain in PDP or you should go to APC. What do? Resign. Okay. Because what binds you to him is the appointment you accepted. I have had cause to reject appointments because I didn't believe in the person who was giving you the appointment, that I cannot align with you because I will disagree with you. And if I don't agree with what you're doing, what am I coming to do? And that is what some of these people do, which is what they were talking about, some of the ambassadorial nominees that went through the screening. You cannot yesterday and say this man is incompetent and turn around to come and work with him. That just shows that this is banality. It's banality. It shows it's inconsistent with integrity. And I have told Mr. President this, and I'm going to say it here now. You cannot bring those who told you that you cannot rule and say that they should come because they don't believe you. They are coming there to prove that you are incompetent by underperforming or deliberately demarketing you by the actions that they take. We saw that in some ministers. Luckily, he listened to us and stripped them of their offices. Because some of them said, this man is not good. So you are going to bring an ambassador who goes to sit and start saying, as I speak to him, my country is not in order because of the kind of president we have. At that time, the damage must have been done. And that is this presidential spokesperson for that country. And then the man who has given you this concrete, solid, verifiable, and cogent reason to believe that he doesn't believe you, you are giving him a responsibility to represent you and carry your image. That is a risk taken too far. Are you suggesting that of all those who believe you, of all those who believe in the ideology and the manifesto of APC, none qualifies from that state, if it is a state, of that profession, if it is professional, of that pedigree, if it is about pedigree? to qualify to be given those positions from those states after all they have gone through with you? Why are you hunting and using torchlight, using binoculars to look for competent hands when they are littered all over the party strata, from the wards to the local government? No corner of this country don't have a competent person to occupy any office in Nigeria. None. So to pretend that this is the best hand is to undermine and ridicule those who are foundation members and legacy members of this APC. It is completely wrong. It is completely demoralizing. It doesn't show that we are rewarding loyalty. This is not the reward for loyalty. It is not to undermine. It is not to contemptuously treat and ignore those who have contributed their best to ensure that this government comes to place, and you turn around and say, that competence that brought you to power is no longer there. You need extra hands of those who opposed them, insulted them, ridiculed them, and even threatened them. Those are the people that have now become their bedfellows. Those are the people that are now sitting hand in glove with you while you alienate and isolate. If people become apathetic, you don't cure political apathy with political isolation. Political apathy cannot be cured by political isolation. So the isolation of legacy members, I insist, is a danger and a threat to APC cohesion in future. Because if there is a conglomeration and aggregation of all the forces that started this party who have been ignored, I know several of them across the country. And when you talk about that, somebody jumps up and tells you that those legacy parties are gone, we are now forming a new party. Fine. That does not mean that you shouldn't expand. In the process of expansion means you are adding to what you have. You do not and can't pronounce people incompetent on account of the fact that they have done their job and they are no longer necessary and they are no longer important. It's wrong, completely wrong. It's condemnable. And this must have to be corrected if we must move forward as a country and as a democracy. How many times do you find a Republican moving on to the Democrats? And we say we are copying America? What kind of America? Yes, homegrown democracy. Does it mean that even as garrison people, Africans are naturally a garrison state? You groom people to defend the community as youth at particular age grade is propelled and prepared and initiated into manhood on the basis that it will keep the ethos and dignity of the community. That community today is Nigeria. So what's your grooming process? That you brought people from AD to AC to ACN to APC, and suddenly you find that they are no longer competent? Where did their brains go to? On holiday?
Well, I think I should be asking you as a chieftain of the All Progressive Congress. Now, Honorable, you are more like a founding member of the All Progressive Congress, APC.
I'm not like, I am.
Okay, all right.
Nobody takes that from me.
Okay, better put, you are a founding member of the All Progressive Congress, APC, and you have a voice in APC. Let me ask you, as a true member and a patriotic Nigerian, what are the areas you feel APC needs to put correctly, or things they need to do to better the life of Nigerians the more? I'm talking about loopholes that you feel they are in this administration, this APC administration, that needs some touch. We're working towards 2027, as a matter of fact, and nobody knows what is going to happen. All right. But then, what do you think? These are loopholes. These are things that are not going on correctly in the economy, in the health sector, in the life of Nigerians, that you feel your party should work on to better the life of Nigerians?
One of the aspects is security. I am appalled that in an age of drones, with modern technology, Nigeria is still keeping policemen all over the place. What technology can do with a button. I just came back from Rwanda 2 weeks ago. Rwanda, you can say because it is small. No, it is because it's organized. Every 2 kilometers of their roads has a CCTV. Protected CCTV. And 500 meters away from the CCTV are just 2 policemen with a car attached to them with their gadgets. If you beat the speed limit, they get an alert and your car is flagged down, because the numbers are already engraved, why will road safety be chasing a car on the road when the car number is there? You just press the button and the car number, and it shows. As we speak today, Nigeria has no data base for anybody. So you beat traffic in Calabar, go to Sokoto, steal somebody's phone, go to Lagos, jump into a fray and start fighting on traffic. Nobody knows that you have done those 3 crimes. Whereas with a database, with just a fingerprint or just keying in your name and your number, your name, it shows every crime you have committed and say this man is a habitual criminal without talking to anybody. Do we have that database in Nigeria? We don't. Why will Nigeria, thank God for the decentralization of development, which is they call restructuring, which the president has started. The commissions, Southeast, Northeast, North Central, South-South Development Commissions, in addition to the Northeast and the South Niger Delta Development Commission, which was to take care of the Niger. Those regions, if for example, between Borno and Yobe, Gombe and Bauchi, Taraba and Adamawa, those 6 states have a real system. Between Benin, Warri, Asaba, Warri, to Yenagoa, to Port Harcourt, to Uyo, to Calabar, you have a rail that runs there. With an 8-lane road like you have the East-West Road now, on their own, they should have a rail system there. And then the Northeast have their own that stops in Taraba. And then Benue in North Central has a rail, and they connect each other. First of all, you have expanded the lifespan of our roads. You've taken away the trucks that are killing and destroying the roads. You have made transport easy. Then, of course, you can see some states now running the air system. Cross River State have just brought their Cali Air, and they are improving and increasing their fleet. So also Bayelsa just did, and a few other states, Ekiti just did. If you have that, you can imagine the level of retrogression we have come into. Okada Air used to fly Calabar to Enugu to Benin, Port Harcourt. ADC up to 2009 was flying those routes. As we speak today, if I have to go to Port Harcourt by air, if I don't carry a chartered flight, I must go first to Lagos or to Abuja to be able to fly to Port Harcourt 3 hours, which is 25 minutes away by air. 15 minutes, 25 minutes because 10 minutes by air, landing and taking off gives you 25 minutes. But as I speak to you now, I'm in Port Harcourt or Uyo and I want to go to Calabar or Uyo, my own neighbors. I have to go to Lagos to fly to Calabar. I have to go to Abuja to fly to Calabar from Port Harcourt. I can't fly into Calabar. Something we were doing up to 2009. So are we improving our conditions or not? How are we going so backward? Then you now turn. Nobody at the age of 30 today in Nigeria has used a train until Jonathan opened the Kaduna Abuja rail. Otherwise, they watch it only on TV. They don't know what a train looks like. We were taking trains from Kano to Abuja, to Aba, to Port Harcourt, to Lagos, stop in Ibadan, stop here. So you now know towns in Nigeria by just entering a train. You do your Nigerian geography by just entering, going through by train transport. If you are using the Eastern Coastal one, you stop in Makurdi, you stop in Kafanchan, you stop. All those stations, you make friends and now know the kind of food they eat in that place. Today, no Nigeria knows. You just fly and fly back, you know nothing. Insecurity has all that on account of security. I'm saying this to say that if you get helicopters, preventive, bring the technology. Second, fighting to protect it. You carry your fighter helicopters. Southeast Development Commission, give us 2 helicopters. Northeast Development, give us three helicopters. Those security votes that the governors are going, put them together and get fighter helicopters. Train your people in that. You know the countries that specialize in those kind of things. We have the aviation school in Zaria. The Air Force have enough training facilities here. We have some of the best fighter pilots in Nigeria, in the Nigerian Army, in the Nigerian Air Force. The police even have their own flying units. What are we doing with that? How much does it take us to buy one drone? How much does it take? How did the Americans take out the Iraqi general, the Iranian general that was coming from Iraq, from Baghdad, in a convoy of about 8 vehicles? They took only him. Even his driver, everybody was safe. They only took him out from his vehicle. Where is that technology that Nigeria cannot afford? With collaboration, can't we even get those things? Didn't we get to Kano jets that improved our condition in the Northeast? How come we can no longer collaborate and get this equipment? Why can't states be encouraged to plan their own regional architecture for security in those areas? Because without security, you can't go to school, you can't go to farm, you can't go to your office, you can't be governor, you can't be contesting elections. Because from moving in campaigns, you'll be doing campaign now by WhatsApp. Nobody will know you and will see whether you can speak or not, whether you are using AI or not. It's by physical movement. So if we now go and take security as a priority as a government and say that by the time we left here, each zone of the 6 geopolitical zones have built a solid security architecture, that is an achievement on its own. That we have encouraged them to link themselves up with railway. First of all, people won't be coming to the road to come and stand and wait for vehicles and kidnap and bandits attacking. To attack a train is more difficult. And by the time you plant your security gadgets on the place, your CCTVs and all, your cameras all over the place, you can predict and see any infraction or any obstruction to the train. You can see that across the rail train, on both ends, at every station that you are stopping. You can see any obstruction. And then with your helicopters, you can go there and rescue people. By the time these people now know, it will not be fashionable. It will no longer be fashionable for them to attack. So you have cleared that part of it. If that's the only thing this government can do, fantastic. On education, we've established the fact of putting the Nigerian loan scheme for students. That is now established and is flowing very well. It's going on. That was the idea of TED Fund that Abacha brought. It is now sustaining this. You take away TED Fund, there will be no tertiary institution infrastructure in Nigeria. Just that 2%. TED Fund is able to send children abroad. TED Fund is able to sponsor research. TED Fund is able to take infrastructure to state and federal investors. In fact, at a point, even some private investors are beginning to benefit from TED Fund because the Nigerian students and children that are there. Now, if you come to the area of food prices are crashing now. The farmers are crying. But last year, cocoa boom. 50 kg of cocoa was about 1.2 million. The lowest was 800. This year it has gone down. Whatever is happening in the world market is a matter of market forces. So on agriculture, food prices have skyrocketed. Nobody is discussing that now because the farmers are the ones suffering. When the farmers were benefiting, Nigerians were blaming the government. But they forgot that these farmers were the ones that they keep the nation going. Whatever you are working on earth is to first of all eat and have shelter. So the people providing the food, you undermine them. When they couldn't go to farm again, that means also that people have returned to farm. The security situation, the tension in the security sector has also reduced. And that's why there's more food, because it's a simple issue of supply and demand. The more the supply, the lesser the price. The higher the demand, the higher the price. So simple economic matrix have played out, and there's more food in the market, so the prices have gone down. A bag of gari in my area, a basin of gari, it has gone down up to 10, 11,000 from 38,000. As we speak today in Lokoja province. So when people are talking about even the creation of state, you can see that places like Ogoja will make a good model of how to survive without federal allocation. It is a perfect example. So you can see clearly that this government can make history with security and transport. Education has already been taken care of by the fact that we need to have the incentive for teachers. Teachers should have waivers in rent, in car purchase. It shouldn't be a punishment that as a teacher you are not entitled to a car, and after retirement that you are not entitled to a living house. That you need to still be paying rent after 35 years in service. At the age of 70, you want to start building a house. You don't even give them the take home to do that. There should be deliberate housing policy, if for no other group of people, for teachers. Look at what you are doing for
even the average Nigerians too. Yeah. A lot of people are suffering when it comes to housing.
The housing deficit is so terrible. Housing deficit. But if you find this group of people having that means you have excess housing for the Nigerian citizen to pay less. I had proposed at a point in this state and in this country, especially for Abuja and several other metropolitan cities, that there are more unoccupied houses than occupied houses. And government can do something about it.
Yes. Why is your government not doing anything about it? There are a lot of estates
that are unoccupied.
In Port Harcourt that is not occupied. So, why is your party just looking at the situation?
Because it is the conversion of cash to concrete. Those who have stolen money convert it to concrete. So the only way to check it is to now insist that unoccupied houses should pay more tenement rate than the occupied houses. In that way, those houses will be given out for cheap. If you have the infrastructure we are talking about, I'm from Makurdi, I am from Lafia, I am from Akwanga, I have no business living in Abuja. Because I know that if I leave my house by 6, as they do in Lagos and other places, even here in Abuja, people from one man country, from Masaka, from Maraba, from Kubwa, they leave by 4, 5 a.m. to be able to get to work by 7, 9 a.m. If they can do that and put a rail system between Nasarawa, Kogi, Niger, those adjoining places, most people will prefer to come from there to this place, knowing that in the evening by 4 o'clock they go, in 1 hour by train they are at their homes. What would they be congesting the city center for? They have no business staying here. Life will be better there. So the satellite towns, which is what Wike is trying to do well here, his policies in Port Harcourt notwithstanding, trying to open up the satellite towns. If you have that, look at the Kerishi axis of it. There are roads inside those places, some of those estates. Make roads into those places. The local governments are no longer functional. If they are made functional, you can go and do those satellite roads, those rural roads. The local governments were the ones handling those things, but because they are no longer empowered, they have these shortages. So I think that one thing the federal government must conclude is autonomy for local governments. That's another thing in terms of governance structure, devolution of powers. If you are bringing the zones, the regions back to have development commissions, then you went to Supreme Court to enforce the Constitution. Ensure that it is executed.
So whose responsibility is it to ensure?
The local government, the citizens, because the government at the federal level has shown you the way. Why would it be the federal government to go to court? Today, I understand in my state, one local government is in court. Another one wanted to carry out their citizens in diaspora were to go on a demonstration in the Nigerian embassy that their local government should be made autonomous and the obedience to the Supreme Court judgment. They were to do that in UK, Nigerian embassy in UK, High Commission in the United Kingdom. They were to do that yesterday, but they called it off because there's a meeting between the governor of Cross River State and the leaders of that local government. Now, citizens' action is also important. The kind of laid-back attitude of citizens, not if you don't enforce your rights, you engage in what the lawyers will call leeches.
But the powers that be have constantly stopped Nigerians from exercising their rights. We have people up to today who are in detention because they protested, peaceful protests, as a matter of fact.
Yes, you call it peaceful protest. I participate in protest. Even this president has participated in protest, when you say protest. But when you allow protest, and this is some of the things, this is hypercriticism that turns into cynicism. People are protesting and at the same time say, America, come and invade Nigeria. So is that protest? Is that a protest? Do you have a right to say so? Is there no limit to freedom of speech? Is there no limit to protest? You are protesting and looting people's shops like they did in Banex. Is that protest? We must put these things clearly. You have footages. Through ITV station, go on and see what happened. How did it come? Soldiers were being beaten up. And you say it is protest? Were you protesting against soldiers who came to buy items in Banex? And you say that It is a protest? Is that the kind of protest we are looking for? People have sat in Fountain here for how many days? Did anybody touch them? That's peaceful protest. That's the kind of thing we are talking about. Bring back our girls. Even recently here, people did that. But when you now come and start breaking down things, breaking people's cars, that is no longer protest. You're taking it out of bounds. That is not what the Constitution contemplates as peaceful protest. How peaceful is that? The NSAS, people made so many claims about it. When we went into the details, you saw that everybody fizzled out and showed that the NSAS was not as nasty as they wanted us to be. Oh, 500 people were killed. Soldiers were shooting people. Bring us footages, because we saw footages of every other thing except soldiers shooting. And again today, we now cover. So we want to see protests. They are a legitimate weapon in a democracy and a right guaranteed by the Constitution of Nigeria. So nobody's going to abridge that. Nobody's going to stop that. But when you take it out of that and prevent other citizens, as you have a right to protest, I have a right not to protest. So do not come and coerce me to join you in your protest. And when I'm not protesting, you say I'm not supporting you. Are you supporting me in my non-protest? I'm not protesting. Why are you protesting? Don't I have a right to stop you from protesting? So if you have a right to coerce me to join you in the protest, why don't I have a right to coerce you not to protest? I shouldn't resist that. What we should be resisting, we don't resist. Your local government allocations are not there. You are not talking about it. You are not protesting to the governors. You are protesting only to the president, who is even in court to enforce your own right. Something you should do. Where are the civil society groups on this matter? Why are they acquiescing? Because it won't pay them. Their foreign collaborators won't be funding their NGOs and the civil society groups. So they must have to grandstand to show that they are facing the government of Nigeria. Governors are too small. Dollars won't flow in if they protest against governors. And that's where the citizens are. The citizens are not in Nigeria, and they are not sitting in Abuja. They are sitting in Bumaji in my village. They are sitting in Orumepang in Boki local government. They are sitting in Kankia in Katsina. They are sitting in Dapchi in Yobe. That is where the citizens are. So protest against your governors, you are not.
But in your own opinion, Honorable, in your own opinion, why do you think these governors or local government chairmen are not enforcing this autonomy, even though the Supreme Court have said, well, enforce this? If it is an individual, that individual may have been picked before now. But why are the governors? A lot of them are even in FCT here. They are not even in their states. That flamboyant life with Nigerians taxpayers' money, and nobody is saying anything, and the common man who is struggling to look for what to eat should be the one to
about
protest.
Nigerian taxpayers' money. Most Nigerians don't pay tax.
Are you?
I can confirm this to you. 70% of Nigerian big men don't pay tax.
Big men. Just say big men now. I think because
when I say big men, it includes private business people with heavy companies. Yes. They don't pay.
Yes.
It is this government that is trying to make them pay. And they will call him the tax collector. Yes, governments survive on tax. Most governments survive on tax. You can't be living with 10 SUVs and won't pay for them. You have money to buy an SUV, you don't have money to pay tax for them. What is required of you? Now, the issue of local government autonomy and its enforcement is dependent on the citizens. Until we're able to go back and tell ourselves that truth, this president has gone out of his way to show you the way that this is where to pass and get your rights. But no citizen is ready to confront this government because the method of selection of leadership at that level has been heavily compromised. Who is a local government chairman? How does he emerge? Almost by appointment or by selection. So if you have gotten into agreement that you are going to accept the name of a local government chairman and whatever else comes with it, you don't bother, how are you supposed to protest? When you have got into agreement. Even God is a covenant-keeping God. You went into covenant that you want to forfeit your right. And then when the rights are being taken away from you, you don't have anywhere to run to because that was what you did. Your method of coming in was not in the first place judiciable. So you cannot turn around to seek the judicial remedy.
All right.
When you compromised.
All right.
So this is where we are.
Okay, well, this is where we are, as a matter of fact. Thank you very much. I wish we could have enough time to talk about these issues. These are not things that we can actually finish talking about in just one sitting. We're talking about political realignment here. And of course, opposition accusing the APC of a one-party state agenda, which the APC chieftain have said, well, this is something they've been fighting from day one, and they can never enforce what they have once fought against. Well, many thanks for joining us, Honorable, on this very program today.
Thanks for having me, and Nigerians should be assured that APC will never support a one-party state. Go and put your house in order and come back and fight us, because the lubricant for democracy is the opposition. We need it. In fact, I know and I have made a point that this President Tinubu can sponsor opposition if he doesn't exist, because he needs it to survive as a Democrat, and he'll be happy to leave office in 2031 as the president who entrenched opposition.
All right, let's keep our fingers crossed and see what will happen. But then, this is going to be the size of the conversation on Global Morning today. We'll go on a quick break. After this break, when we return, we'll bring the program to a close. Stay with us.
A very good evening and welcome to another exciting edition of Big Talk. Tonight on the program,
as always, it's a pleasure to have you. Join us here on Global Morning. I am Uyi Alpo.
You know how we do it on Teacher Plus Extra, bringing you all the...
On the desk this evening, we have very topical issues to discuss. And of course...
Welcome to your parliamentary program, The Parliament.
Peaceful and joyful home doesn't happen by chance. It is built on...
Women can rise beyond traditional boundaries to claim their rightful place as
a numerous committee, about more than 12 committees.
Festival is a program that comes to you once in a week at about this time, where we look into issues and discuss them. It gives you the opportunity to
World News in United
Welcome
Nigeria.
to Entertainment Circle. And trust me, today you're about to get entertained.
Hello everyone and welcome to the program Talk Sports here on Global Television.
Turn Up Zone is that platform where we bring young and talented artists.
Stay tuned, stay inspired, stay with Global Television on DSTV Channel 365, on Star Times Channel 276.
Global Morning is your top morning show here on Global Television.
We bring you fresh news updates daily while delving into a variety of current affairs and topics.
And at the same time, keeping you well informed about important events, both national and internationals.
Global Morning serves as a valuable source of information, helping viewers like you start your day well informed.
Stay connected from Monday through Sunday to a wide range of latest news making rounds on Global Morning.
We're on the road to protest.
And the president meets all of our demands.
This is Global Morning.
Well, APC said they are not in for a one-party system. And of course, let's keep our fingers crossed and see how it's really going to go. You
know, it's interesting, Ramsey, when people say the APC is pursuing a one-system sort of goal. I'm wondering, those governors, for example, at least let's start from the top, what exactly are they buying into? What is the value proposition from the APC or even from the president himself that they are buying into? I think other political parties, I mean, those in the opposition fold, should have real tough eyeball-to-eyeball conversation with their people.
All right. Well, this is the size of the conversation, but I want you to know that all the view of our guest is entirely theirs, and Global Television have no contribution to whatever perspective or opinion that they've put up on the program today. My name is Ramsey Enoch Agbo.
We are going to listen. Thank you to you, and here is wishing you the best of